See, I thought Keith started holding behind closed doors hearing via phone remote, where I went through district court at that time, Chief Peter Cahill, and then I went through what I considered to be Michael Davis in federal court winning, and then I got to Alan Page and I won. And I thought Keith got 417.6 for me at that time in that closed sealed deal, right? Under those three judicial officials under Barack Obama and Joe Biden. And then I thought that account was paid out. And as it was paid out, he tested the waters and started to submit receipts saying that he paid for this and he needed his money back out of that account under Sharon L. Martin's name. And then when the money started coming in, they then started stealing Sharon's name and identity by making sure Sharon remained homeless. Because see, Sharon wasn't at 3625. I said that, 2013 was really weird. I thought that Office of Civil Rights complaint that I filed January 23rd, 2013, where Leticia Magdaleno told me I had to separate the complaints. She said, Sharon, you cannot do one Office of Civil Rights complaint for both of your kids. And I said, but it was one district that conspired against my children when I left to harm them in another district. I said that was defamation and slander. I said that's why we left the district. They were discriminating, intimidating, and retaliating against my children. And they didn't have the right to slander my kid's name, defame my character in District 281, where, I said, again now, they created a second case. Now at that time, that second case in my head wasn't doing Owen under money. I had even went after District 281, where Michelle Beth Kelleher's district, using Michael Favors and that same original complaint from Kim and them, where they said that I was denying my kids the EBD label. They said I was denying my kids the EBD label to be controlled by police, manipulated, and locked up. They said that from kindergarten through 12th grade, for some odd reason, my attorney skills kept my kids out of jail, and they should have been locked up, which wasn't the case at all as far as I knew. And with that being said, since they could never prove it, kindergarten through 12th grade, how they got me was when I filed that Office of Civil Rights complaint in 2013. So then that was when MPHA tried to evict me in May. And they said, well, Sharon had the rent yesterday. So then the fees shouldn't even been applied to me. Under the law, the court should have said Sharon had the fees yesterday. The judicial official officiating that case, he said, well, he should have made them give Sharon back her money for the fees and then take the rent. Sharon shouldn't have had to enter into a rent agreement where she said she was going to agree to pay court costs she didn't even fucking owe. And as she agreed to do that, they said that's a one-time, lifetime agreement. You can't do it again. So then they was recertifying me a month later. And that's when I said Tanetta was manipulating as a, secretary for Claudia Sterling and Debbie Holtzleiter. They kept saying I didn't have my child support papers in. Number one, I had them in because Michael wasn't even paying child support. Michael Cooper Sr. was considered disabled and the motherfucker hadn't been paying it. So then they were supposed to remove any amount of money that I owed for rent out of that because they had to deduct so much of my child support and couldn't account for that as earned income. And they weren't doing that. They were counting income I didn't have. Same thing when Shayla graduated, but she didn't graduate. They said, Sharon, did Shayla graduate? I said, yeah, but not really. She ain't got her high school diploma yet. She still has to do another 6 months under some type of agreement I made when I had Cooper test her. And why did Cooper test her? Because Shayla wanted to go to college. Shayla said that she needed to pass her MCA test to get her high school diploma and go to college. And they said, well, Sharon, we got to do these things. I said, well, do them. And they said, well, technically Shayla's in the 12th grade. It's a little late. And I said, well, what do you mean? They said, well, these things should have been kind of done in the 9th grade when Shayla didn't pass. And I said, well, ain't that 504 plan? They said that was blank. They never said Shayla had to work on any of those things, 9th and 10th grade. I said, what? Wait a minute, hold up. Let's do an individual eval and see if she qualifies under other health disability based on her health. And they were like, what? So then we tested Shayla under her health, She qualified for other health disability. With that being said, we then got her MCA test. We made sure that she was up to par with credits because we weren't going to argue if she needed 46 credits or 64 credits because Shayla had enough credits to pass. She passed her MCA test. She was qualified to go to college, passed to go into college. So then therefore we were satisfied with that, and I thought we made a deal where Shayla was going to get Social Security from the time that we did that eval, which Shayla got because she had turned 18 by that point in time and was getting that money. Now, I don't know if they were supposed to count it as my rent. We didn't discuss that because we were too busy arguing about whether or not Shayla graduated, which Shayla didn't graduate. I got Shayla's high school diploma in the mail December 17th, 2013. That was a joyous day. We celebrated. I opened up the mail, boom, it said Shayla Cooper, high school diploma. So I said I was owed a rent credit from December, November, October, September, going back to August, going through July and June, thinking backwards in my motherfucking head because Shayla was still in school, right? And they didn't want to give me my rent credit, so I couldn't pay the rent. I said I didn't owe that rent, and nobody said put it in a account, and I said I didn't put it in an account with my legal beagle mind because we were deciding my rent. Under the law, my lease was null and void for that amount, and we were redeciding, so I didn't owe any rent while we were redeciding things, what I said. So that was going to be my position in court, but then they evicted me, and I was sleeping on the floor at my mama's house while they were talking about face down in the dirt, eating worms. And then, how does it feel to sleep on the floor, bitch? They were, denying me access to leases where I was paying application fees, $50 a whop, $40 a whop, $30 a whop, through every landlord in Minneapolis. And then I realized the landlords was like a group of 10 people under the Minnesota Business Association of the Landlords Union, where they were, owning like all the properties. So now I'm dealing with these specific people where I thought my name was blackballed after Barb Johnson, who was one of the owners of these properties. And they wasn't allowing me to get a lease. They were just taking my money, and I was complaining. And as I'm complaining, they're arresting me with Barb Johnson's police because her husband, Dwayne, her husband, Dwayne, was on the force for like 1,000,000 years. And because Dwayne was on the force 1,000,000 years with all these negative, hateful police officers, they were willing to kick my ass, put me in a headlock, body slam me, and not pay me, I said. That's what I said, but nobody believed me.